What's the deal, YouTube? It's your girl, Miss Honey. Oh, you guys already know what this is. This is the spring finale of Greenleaf. It's also our third show for Woosah Wednesday. We do this every Wednesday. This is our second show to leave us, our Wednesday show to leave us. You guys who follow me really tough know I do Black Ink Crew New York. That ended tonight, as well as Greenleaf. This is a mid-season finale, and Greenleaf is actually going to return in August. But that leaves us with Underground, whose season finale is next week. So I don't know what we're going to do on Wednesday until June. Y'all know what June is, don't you? Oh, it's Queen Sugar. Oh, you guys think I go hard for Underground and Greenleaf? Y'all wait till the Borderlones come back. I'm so excited about Queen Sugar coming back. I can't even tell you guys. So, let's go ahead and get into this Greenleaf thing. But I don't want you guys to miss a minute of Queen Sugar or the season finale of Underground. So if you are not already a subscriber to Miss Honey's channel, go ahead and hit that subscribe button down below. Go ahead and give me a thumbs up. Lets me know you like my content. And go ahead and get in the mix of comments and criticisms and banter that we love to do down below in the comment section, okay? Without further ado, you guys, let's jump on into this season finale of Greenleaf. It gave me several gut punches. Hard gut punches. I mean, it's hard to shock me. It really is. But some of the stuff that went on in this episode, you guys, snatched. Okay, snatched all of my teeny tiny little baby mustache hairs. Okay, let's do it. So it starts where it left off last week. You guys know what happened. Grace gets these flowers from Mac. You know, in memory, in your memory to Faith. And she tears off in the Greenleaf security truck. Odd. But yeah, she tears off in the truck and she's going down the road and she's flashing back, you know, to what things that Mavis has said, things that Mac has said, things that have happened, conversations, the testimonies of the girl. She is just reeling. She is... oh, and driving all erratic and speeding up and slowing down and speeding up and slowing down. And then a deer jumps out and she swerves the misses, goes over the end bank, hits a tree. She's out. Comes back. She comes to herself. She looks over and she sees that deer. Okay. And the deer's fine. The deer is like, I don't know why everybody is, you know. And she shimmies up out of that truck and she's barefoot. She calls the first person she can think of, which is Nash. All right. And he comes out and we see them coming to, you know, try to tow her car. And the police are there and they've got it all roped off. And Nash has got his coat around her and he's showing her concern. You okay? Are you all right? You know, you could have been worse. You're very lucky to be alive. And she's just like, I'm really, really thankful to be alive. And then we see him take her on back home. As soon as she walks in the door, the whole family is right there in the living room where she's left them. And her bishop runs up first and he is like, oh my gosh, where have you been, Grace? And Mother May, Lady May rolls up. She got a drink in her head, okay? And she wants to know what's going on. Of course, Sophia is running towards her mom and hugging her. She has been worried sick about her mom. And Grace goes on in and sits down and Nash comes in and they are just, you know, they sort of just take Grace away from him and ushers her on in to sit down. And he says she's very lucky to be alive. Bishop said, we don't believe in luck in this house. He said, well, I mean, I guess she has guardian angel guarding over her. And Bishop said, I wouldn't doubt that at all. So then Lady May tells Nash, after he greets everybody, you've got a beautiful home, and tells Sophia, nice to meet you, happy belated birthday, and all of this. Lady May says, well, we don't want to hold you up. We don't want to keep you. She still got her drink right here. We don't want to hold you up. Okay? So, push on off. So he's like, okay. Sophia's nice enough to walk him to the door, and she is so cordial and so bubbly. He is like, okay, good. Because the rest of these ninjas was giving me cold shoulder, right? He goes on out, and Mace tells Grace, she drops the facade. Grace, your daughter was worried sick about you, and she knew where you were going. She knew what you were headed to do. Grace said, well, I didn't do it. Bishop said, well, thank God. And she says, I understand. She goes on upstairs. She's got a bruise up here like a little rug burn type. What how the airbag do you. And burn right here. And she's a little disheveled. She wants to go on upstairs. And Bishop got one more thing he want to say. Maybe that deer wasn't just an ordinary deer. Maybe that's God's way of telling you that you need to slow down before you do something you're going to regret. Okay? And he said, be advised. All right? So she goes on upstairs and goes on about her business. Okay? So Sophia helps her on upstairs. They get upstairs, and Sophia tells her mom, you can't keep freaking me out like this. Like, you need to pull it together. And she says, what if you died? And Grace is like, she's saying, I know that you're mad, you're upset that Mac hasn't been punished, but let it go. And Grace said, I don't think I can. And honestly, I don't think that I should. Okay? And so Sophia's like, well, look, Mama, it is what it is. So what will you do when you realize there's nothing else for you to do? I don't want to lie to you. I don't want to lie to you and tell you that I'm not going to continue on this quest. I feel this thing down in my spirit. She say, but what can I tell you? We all got our cross to bear. And Sophia says, you're my cross to bear. So now I want to tell Sophia, go ahead and pump your brakes, Sophia. Go ahead and pump your brakes and realize what your place is. I get it. I understand. You frightened and you scared. But let me tell you something. I'm the mama. Okay? I'm the mama. All right? Know your place. Watch your mouth. Watch your mouth. Okay? She sees Sophia's upset and she says, I'm sorry. Listen, I'll slow down. I will slow down. I will promise to slow down. That is what I can do right now, is just promise you that I will drive a little bit slower, and that's the best I can do. What can Sophia do? So we see Charity, and she talking to her baby, and Jabari calls, and Jabari wants to know if she could come the next day up to Nashville. He got some people he want her to meet. She said, well, it's kind of late notice. He said, I know. If you can't do it, that's fine, but I really want you to try to make it. She said, well, can I let you know first thing tomorrow morning? At latest tomorrow morning? He said, yeah, sure. There's a 3:30 flight. You can get down here in time for us to have dinner together. Me, you, and these people, right? And she says, okay, well, let me see what I can do, and I'll let you know. So we see Jacob and Carissa, and she said, why didn't you tell me before now? They walking out of one room and into the next room. And he says, I'm telling you now. What kind of shady pastor gets caught up in this kind of shady foolishness? Poker? And she says, does Tasha know? And Jacob says, I don't know. And she says, I bet she does. I bet they are Bonnie and Clyde. Oh, she says, it's 6 months wasted and nothing to show for it. Okay, I knew something was up when I found that $100 bill. Jacob said, what $100 bill? She said, I found a $100 bill on the floor over here the other night. He said, why you didn't tell me? She said, seriously, Jacob? Seriously? That's what we doing? We going secret tit for tat? Want secret? He says, I'll have to think of something. And she said, well, you better. And it better not include tucking our tails and heading back to that doggone mansion where I got to put up with your nasty ass. I wasn't going to say that. She said, And she strolls off. She's mad as hell. All right? So, of course, we see Mac and Lorraine. They getting ready for church. And Britney is steady blowing Mac up. Blowing him up. And every time the phone rings, Lorraine want to know who it is. And he's like, that's Sophia again. And she is just, her lips getting tighter and tighter. And he wants to know what's the woman. I just don't understand why she keep calling you. She got a crazy mama. She's got a crazy mama, and she's just looking for somebody to listen to. I just don't understand that. I don't understand why she keeps calling you over and over again. And she tells him, I knew who you were when I met you, and I believe in you. I've accepted you for who you are. And she says, I love you. And he says, hugs, and I love you too. And she says, good. Now tell your niece that she need to kumbaya and counsel with her own friends and stop calling you. And he starts laughing, he hugging for her from behind. And I will. All of this conversation, he's going to get a scarf. He's, he's trying to sort of, nice kitty, calm kitty. She's beautiful, and the scarf goes beautiful with this outfit, and you look so beautiful, and you were beautiful from the day I met you, and all of this while she is still throwing him these dagger questions, and he is slipping and sliding in between the lies, trying to keep her happy. They get to church, and he tells her to go on inside, but he's going to call Sophia and let her know to stop calling him. And so she agrees and goes on. He calls Britney and tells Britney immediately, you have to stop calling me. She said, my mom, I need a place to stay. My mom is really skitzing out right now, and I really, really need a place to stay. And he is like, I can't do it. And she's like, please, Mr. McCready, I need a place to stay. And he's like, I can't right now. And he hangs up. Okay, so she walks on off about her business, all right? So then we see Charity and Kevin, and Charity is leading praise and worship in time, and everybody's singing and dancing and feeling the spirit of the Lord. And Kevin front row with little Nathan in his hands, and he looking over his shoulder at Aaron. Aaron like 3 rows back. He done turned slap around looking at Aaron. Okay, Kevin. All right. Okay. Let's see how far you finna go with this thing. Okay. So then we see Skanks and Jacob, and Skanks is getting himself amped up, hyped up. He's doing Sunday morning service, and he's getting amped and hyped up, and Jacob comes in and he's like, I'm sorry, I'll come back when you not busy. And he's like, no, I'm getting ready. I'm getting pumped up. Have you figured out what we're going to do? How we going to fix this situation? And Skanks is like, you know what? He says, can you tell me what your plan is? And he says, it's all taken care of. Skanks says, it's all taken care of. And Jacob's like, what do you mean? Unless Bass Reeves was able to schmooze Branson, then what are we going to do? And he says, no, Bass Reeves didn't, but Skanks. But Basie Skanks is about to make a withdrawal from the bank of heaven. Look and learn. And he goes out past Jacob on his way to the pulpit. So let's take a moment now and look at these 2 different sermons. Skanks is in his pulpit, baby, and he is giving it to him full regalia, okay? He's pimping the children. We've all fallen short. We've all sinned. And you're a sinner. Totally. I'm a sinner. Playing on the emotions of the people. And he is doing it in the most slimiest, sort of pimpish type of way. It's all real slick. All right. So then we see Bishop. And Bishop is talking about other people are giving sermons about sins, trying to pull on your heartstrings and make you convicted. But let's look at the other end of the spectrum, the endless love of God. And God is here. And he wants you to turn back to him. And everything you need is in him. And Grace is moved. It's this conversation that she sort of needs to hear. She is battered and tattered and torn. She is sleepless and tired and on edge. And to feel as though God is present and to feel his presence, it gives her, just releases just a little bit of that pressure off of her. Okay, so it's 2 different sermons, 2 different effects, right? Let me see Jacob and Carissa after church at Triumph, and Zora is bugging Carissa about letting her go to Isaiah's studio to hear his band practice, and Carissa lets her go be back at 9. Jacob starts to talk to Carissa, and Carissa was like, can you believe Pastor Skanks up there talking about sin after all the bull crap he's done? And Jacob says, I think I have an idea. And she says, this place is a spiritual danger zone. He said, did you hear me? She said, what? He said, the idea is going to be expensive. She says, money is cheap. Freedom is expensive. And he says, I'm thinking about taking the money that our parents gave us to buy something of our own. So I think to myself, okay, Jacob, I'm going to go with you with this. Let's do this. So then we see Sophia, Woody the Great, a.k.a. Roberto. That's what Roberto looked like to me. He looked like Woody the Great from Instagram. I think that's his name. I think Woody the Great played Bobby Brown on the biopic too. But anyway, that's who Roberto reminds me of. They come in with a baby goat from Children's Church. As y'all know, Sophia is co-pastor of Children's Church now. So her mom kids with her about it, being a preacher lady. And Sophia's like, you're in a good mood. And she says, I'm getting there. And she's supposed to meet Darius and her mom, Grace, at farm table later on for dinner. All right. They all agree it's going to be great. Drive safe. You too. We see Charity. Kevin and Charity. Kevin has got the baby. He talking to the baby. He pretending to look through for apartments. And I say pretending, and I'll tell you why in a second. He's talking to the baby like Charity was talking to the baby. And we know we got to have a on-site laundry and all of this, that, and the third. Charity walks up. He says, nice seeing you. And she says, nice seeing you today. She says, thanks. And Nathan smiled every time you got up there to do a solo. So then she says, do me a favor. He says, shoot. She says, can I go to Nashville? Well, you're divorced now. You don't have to ask for permission. We all know that, A. And B, you just tell him I need you to keep the baby while I handle some business tomorrow. I'll be back Tuesday evening. Is that okay or not? Because if not, I'll hire somebody. I'll get a nanny. I'll find somebody to keep the baby. It's not really that big of a deal, Charity, but let's just come in tiptoeing and acting like you need a favor from Jacob. From Kevin. Let's just do that, shall we? It's so weird. And he says, well, I don't know if I can do that because I don't have a place to stay yet. Come on with this bull crap, Kevin. Come on. All right? It ain't that hard to find a place to stay. It is not. And she says, I know. Well, why don't you stay at the house with the baby? Now, why would he do that? Why would he want to do that? He's been threatened by Lady May. Okay, let's just talk about it for a second. He's been threatened by Lady May. She's had made a fool of him at the divorce table, basically, for the most part. He signed all these papers where he know that he make one false move, they fire him, he can't do nothing about it. Why you putting yourself in this position, Kevin? I don't understand it. I just don't get it. He tells her, okay, fine, go ahead, it's no problem. Really? He's like, yeah, all right, I bet you are okay with it, especially since you've been eyeballing Aaron 3 rows behind you in church service. But let's move forward. All right, we see Mac and Lorraine come from church, and he gets a call from the deputy mayor. All right, no go on the job. He says, I thought we had an understanding. And the man says, well, think again. Your dirty little secrets are following you everywhere. And Mac says, did she do this? Did she talk you into this? Is she responsible for this? And the deputy mayor is like, she who? What are you talking about? And he says, you're responsible for it. Okay, you did this to yourself, and you and your nasty ways, and lose my number. So Matt gets off the phone. Lorraine wants to know, who was it? She's supposed to be in the kitchen heating up. So who was it? He said, none of your business. Ooh, gut punch number 1. When I tell y'all, he switched up so fast. All right, he shifted from this really nice place, seemingly nice place, to this really, really dark, evil, hateful, ugly place so quickly. It sent chills down my spine. It really did. It chilled my blood a little bit. I said, oh my God, I've been in a situation like that where a dude just switch up on you, and you got to go into plan B mode when a dude do you like that. But Lorraine is playing a role here, so she sees this thing through to the end. She said, excuse me? He said, who the hell are you to always be asking somebody questions? You've never done anything wrong? Like you've never done anything wrong? She said, I've never said that I was perfect, Mac. Perfect? He said, you the most bottom shelf, off-brand piece of rotten old ass I ever put my hands on. Ugh. Ooh, he hit her hard in the gut. Ugh. He said, get out. Mac, don't do this. And she puts his hand, don't do this, you don't need this. And he said, I said get out. She cries, please don't do this, Mac. He says, go. And she leaves. Okay? Now, let me tell you this. He wouldn't have never gotten to that part about let me see. The part about you ain't perfect and you the most right. He would have never got to that part, because when he got to who the hell are you to always be asking somebody questions, I'd have got my coat and I got my purse and I'd got the hell on. The energy in that room changed so greatly. Okay, this is a TV program, but this is also a lesson for everybody out there who in this kind of situation. When the energy shift like that and somebody comes out in this real aggressive manner to you, it is best for you to remove yourself from the situation. She could easily have been killed. Okay, this man ain't right in the head, and the minute she saw it, she should have got up and left. But see, as strong as she was trying to act, she was indoctrinated too, because she was used to all that. You're so beautiful and you're so wonderful, and every time I look at your beautiful face, you know that she had her blinders on. She had her blinders on, even though it was right there in front of her. She got her blinders on. All right, so she leaves out in a heap and a mess. It was scary. This was a scary little part. This was a scary little scene. Okay, any woman out there who has ever been with a man alone and he has switched up on you, you guys know exactly what I'm talking about. All right, ladies, get your shit and go. So she gets out the door, and before she down the steps, good, he calling Britney. You still need a place to... Mr. McCready? Hey, Mr. Creedy, is that you? Yeah, darling, you still need a place to stay? First of all, she's calling you Mr. McCready. That's from Jack Rabbit. What's the one with what's the fable where the rabbit's living in the garden and Mr. McCready gonna kill him? That's when she said Mr. McCready. That's what makes me think about this little fairy tale. So let me see Zora. Zora's in the studio with Isaiah. He's got a great little song. It's got a catchy tune. He's singing in all his bands outside of the sound booth. And he asks Zora what she thinks. And she says, good, perfect, great. Except the part when you do that little bridge over. She says it's just a little bit flat. But you can make it up when you re-sing the bridge. So he's like, And everybody that's there outside of Zora's face go as flat as that note that Zora pointed out on Isaiah. I mean, you can just tell that they know that he don't play that criticism game. So he comes out and he whispers in her ear, can I see you outside for a moment, which was really only like 4 feet away. And he immediately switches on her and turns into Ike Turner. And he tells her, don't you ever, as long as you live, criticize me. Okay, don't you ever criticize me in front of me. If I ask you how something is, you are supposed to say great, sounds great, and that is it. She's like, come on now. Oh, and now you talking back? I mean, he went straight Ike Turner on her. Ugh, good punch number 2. I mean, he got right in her face. Do you understand me? Am I making myself clear? Watch your mouth. Okay, she called Sophia. Sophia answered. She said, I need you to come get me. And Sophia said, I'll be right there. All right. So she goes on back. She got to pick her face up and go on back and sit down and be calm about it, right? So then we see Skanks. Skanks is sitting in his office, and Jacob comes in, and Jacob says, I think I have a solution. He says, we, meaning he and Carissa, are going to pay the debt. And we get Triumph too. All right. And the money gets replaced and you don't have to go to jail. Skanks is insulted. Or he pretends to be insulted. He says, well, look who got some nut sacks. Pastor, this is pastor of the church. You know, he's absolutely indignant. How dare you? And where you gonna get this kind of money from anyway? Jacob say, I got the money already. Listen, I've never disrespected you. I respect everything you've done. I appreciate everything you've done. But we don't have no choice here. I have the money. I can pay the debt off free and clear. And you guys, you and Tasha just sign over the deed to Triumph 2 to us. I really don't see that you guys have any other choice in the matter at all. All right. And it was part of me that felt like as soon as Jacob walked off, Pastor Skanks was going to start smiling. But he didn't. He didn't. So I am, continually suspicious of Pastor Skanks. So I am not sure how this is going to work out. Fingers crossed that Jacob can pull this off, because if he does, this could be a major, major, major win for him. He and Carissa. All right, if they're able to pull this off. But Skanks is pissed, and Jacob says, take the money, give us our deed, you have your church, and we got ours. All right, so then we see Mac's got Britney there at the house, and she's sitting on the sofa. Now she got on a little pair of jeans and a little crop top and a midsection out, and she's sitting Indian style trying to find TV programs, and he's like, no, not this, keep going. And he still got his button down and khakis on, and he goes to pour them 2 drinks. Now she's none the wiser about him pouring her some brown liquor, and she takes a couple of sips and lays down, and he's on one side of the sofa, and she goes ahead and lays down, of course, and folds her legs over, and she lays down on the sofa. So we see that she falls asleep. So Mac touches her hair, and then he touches her leg and kind of eases down where her growing area would be. He rounds the thigh and comes down, and it's creepy. It's creepy as hell. And I find myself, breathing hard and feeling a little panicked, because it's a scary, scary situation for any young girl to be in. Whether they are being foolish and naive, whether they, are being fast and hot in the tail, as my grandmama would say, or whether they've been kidnapped. And it's a very frightening thing to have to be in the middle of this situation. And to wake up and somebody on top of you, or trying to assault you or trying to hurt you, like it's frightening. And the hairs on the back of my neck stood up when he started kissing her thigh and moved up around her buttocks, just kissing, and he got to her skin, and we got her to her skin, and he kissed her skin. She woke up, and she was like, oh no, don't do that. And he is just like, come on and get this old man penis. Come on, let's do it. And she's like, get off of me. And he has got her. And he's got her down. And she is just like, please, no, stop. Please, no, stop it. I'm just like, oh my God, do not let this man rape this girl right here. I cannot. Okay? I cannot. All right? So she gets up. She gets all her shit. And she gets out of there. And he's just sitting there like, bye, bitch. Whatever. He's drunk as Cooter Brown. All right. So, ooh, scary. We see Grace and Nash at dinner together. They still waiting on Sophia. They goes back to pick Zora up. And Zora is so ungrateful. What took you so long? I've been waiting here forever. Sophia said, my phone is dead. And I've never been on this part of town before. I couldn't find you. I couldn't find the address. Just whatever. Let's go. That's the last we see of Sophia and Zora. That Zora is just like her mama. She a perfect mix of her mama and daddy. She is ungrateful as hell. Okay, so we know that Grace can't reach Sophia on the phone because Sophia's phone is dead. And she says, you know what, forget it. Let's go ahead and order. And now, mind you, her and Nash both are drinking. They dropped that wine bottle down at a good little level. She gets a phone call from Mac while she's ordering, and she said, what do you want? And he says, she's walked off from the table, and he says, you just couldn't keep your nose out of it. You just couldn't stay out of it, could you? And she says, Mac, what are you doing? What have you done? You don't know how to shut up and keep your nose out of it, do you? Mac? No, Mac. Now, what are you doing? Okay. And he says, all I ask you to do is just keep your nose out of the business. And she says, Mac, what's happening, Mac? He hangs up. All right. So let's go back to Kevin and A-Rod. Kevin's at the house and he's put the little Nathan down in his swaddling blanket and turned the light out, and he is done babysitting his son for the day, and he's now in A-Rod's corner. That's who I'm going to call Aaron going forward, is A-Rod, for obvious reasons. Oh my gosh. So he and A-Rod are over on A-Rod's wing of the house, and they're having a beer, and Kevin's got his head down and he's just like, oh, you know that thing men do when they want you to give them a massage or move in a little bit closer. You want me to kiss it? Make you all feel better. Okay, so this is what he's doing. I'm just so. So, Aaron's like, what's going on? He said, rough day. And Kevin's like, rough years. He says, any luck finding a place? It's like, nah, I haven't had any luck, but it's got to be sooner or later. He says, there's just nothing really out there. Kevin, cut the bullish, Kevin. Cut it. First of all, you should have looked for a house not that long time ago. Find a home, Kevin. Please, miss me with all of this. You right where you want to be, all right? You in these people's houses after the way they treated you, and he's the lawyer that pushed all of that crap through on you on behalf of your wife and her family, and now you sitting up in this house with this man. Okay, of all places to get caught in the middle of some bull crap in the Greenleaf household, Kevin, you cannot be that dumb. You cannot be that desperate to get your cherry burst. You cannot. You cannot be that desperate to lose your virginity, Kevin. Come on. So, he keep touching A-Rod on the leg and keep touching A-Rod on the leg and, keep giving him little signals, let him know, hello. There is a tension, a balloon tension full of kisses and hugs right here. It's over the both of us. One of us has got to pop this balloon, baby. Let's make it happen. And so A-Rod makes the move, okay? He seems like he's clearly the top. He reaches over, and anytime a guy puts his hand around your neck like that, that is a position of power and control to bring you in closer. This is how make out works. This is how making out works. Like, this is making out 101. Everybody knows this, right? So he finally pulls Kevin on in, and Kevin is like blinking, like a baby deer, like, oh, I'm about to lose my virginity. And they start kissing and making out, and then A-Rod pops the belt on Kevin's pants and pulls that belt out, and then the scene is over. I was like, oh, are you guys seriously about to do this with the baby monitor? Go back to Grace, and Grace is in the car. She is on her way to Mac's house, but she's calling Roberto. Roberto, have you seen Sophia? And he said, no, I haven't seen her in 3 hours, and is everything okay? And she's like, well, you know what, I'm not sure, but if you hear from her, you tell her to call me immediately. Gets off the phone. She's mad as hell. She is doing 100 miles an hour to get to Mac's house. She gets to Mac's house. He opens the door. He is drunk as Cooter Brown, and she goes through the house. Sophia, where is she? Sophia, are you in here? Where is she? Sophia! Like, why would your daughter just be in there voluntarily, especially knowing how crazy you are about this man? Like, it's not put it all together, Grace. And she's looking for him, and he's grabbing her, and he's all drunk, and they end up fighting. He ends up slamming her through the wall and denting the wall, and she's fighting, and he falls back on the table, and she's on top of him, and it is this crash and glass everywhere, and he takes a bottle and smashes it on the wall, just missing her head. And now he's got her on the sofa, and he is choking the life out of her. And she is reaching. And he's broken, and she jams it in his neck, and he's like, and she gets up, and she is like, where is Sophia? And he's like, call an ambulance, please. And she said, where is my daughter? That's Greenleaf. That is the season finale of Greenleaf, y'all. She killed that sucker. she killed that sucker. Now you already know next season, this is my prediction. It's all going to be about Grace being obsessed with Mac. Did she kill him on purpose? But we got Britney. We got Miss Lorraine. Oh, Miss Lorraine's spirit is crushed real hard right now, Miss Lorraine. But I promise you, that nasty attitude Mac gave you saved your life. You ought to be glad. You ought to be glad. And this whole Zora and Isaiah situation, you guys. Ooh, please, 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 please like, comment, subscribe. Okay, let's talk about it down below. What did you guys think about this season finale of Greenleaf? Right, full of gut punches. Kevin, Zora, and Isaiah, and that doggone Mac and Grace. Loved it. Okay, until next time, honeybees.